Hello and welcome back to my series on terms in Magic the Gathering that the game doesn't explicitly tell you. If you're new to the game and you hear players around you saying things and you have no idea what they're talking about, and you look it up in the rules and it doesn't say anything, this list might be for you. Let me know if you learned something and hopefully you all enjoy. The first term for today is Ramp. A spell ramps you when it gives you more mana than you would have ordinarily if you just played one land drop every turn. So if a spell gives you a land out of your deck, or gives you a permanent that lets you tap for more mana, it ramps you. Just think of it as inclining you to be able to cast higher and higher mana costed spells. And in that same note, creatures that tap for mana are called mana dorks. They're just dorks that let you tap for mana. And same thing with artifacts that let you tap for mana. Those are called mana rocks. If someone is talking about rocks and dorks, they're talking about permanents that can tap for mana. I've touched on this topic in a previous video, but there's also such a thing as a mana curve, and this refers to the costs of the spells in your deck. Now, usually you want to have a small number of 1-drops, lots and lots of 2 and 3 drops, some 4 and 5 drops, and then fewer and fewer 6 drops and above. You want it to have a curve, so you start high and then you go lower and lower. It curves. This is just so you have spells to cast on each turn of the game. You don't need as many 1-drops as you do 2 and 3 drops, but you want lots and lots of 2 and 3 drops, a few 4 and 5 drops, and then fewer cards that are 6 and above. You don't want to get too bogged down on spells that you can't cast early. Decks with lower curves tend to be more aggressive, and decks with higher curves tend to be a little bit slower. The next term is vanilla. A creature is vanilla when it has no abilities. It's just a creature with no abilities. You wouldn't often build decks with vanilla creatures, but they're just nice to have in draft if you just desperately need creatures and it doesn't matter if they have abilities or not. A French vanilla creature is a creature that has 1 keyword ability. So if you see something like a 1/1 for 1 with flying, that would be a French vanilla card as opposed to just vanilla. French vanilla when English vanilla walks in. The next term is goldfishing. You goldfish a deck when you play a deck against yourself. Imagine you're sitting at the table and at the other end is a goldfish, and the goldfish is playing another deck. So you're playing your deck, and then your opponent is a goldfish who can't play Magic the Gathering. Goldfishing is just another term for playing by yourself alone. So when players are testing out their decks by themselves, they call it goldfishing for this reason. The next few terms are regarding planeswalkers. So planeswalkers have loyalty abilities, and when you use abilities that give them or take them away, it's called taking them up or taking them down. And then when you use a planeswalker's final ability, it's called ulting a planeswalker. It's kind of like using your super move in other games. A planeswalker's ult is usually so powerful that it could win you the game by itself. You really don't want to let a planeswalker ult. And this brings me to my next term. I like to think of them as clocks. I'm not sure if anyone else actually uses the same term or not, but I like to think of planeswalkers in terms of how many turns it takes for them to ult if you keep ticking them up. For instance, Nissa Vital Force is a 1-turn clock, because if you cast her and then immediately tick her up, your opponents only get 1 turn to deal with her before she can ult. She's a 1-turn clock. Another example would be Obnixilis Reignited. He'd be a 3-turn clock, because it only takes 3 turns for him to get up to 8 loyalty, so your opponents have 3 turns to deal with him before he can ult. He is a 3-turn clock. Next are the names for the different kinds of players that you'll meet. You'll often hear players calling other players Timmies, Johnnies, Spikes, Vorthos, or whatever. A Timmy is someone who's in the game for enormous effects. Think huge creatures or spells that have really big effects. Players that like big things are Timmies. Players that like combos and interesting interactions are called Johnnies. Johnnies like different combinations of cards that just do crazy things, or just people who enjoy Magic for its complexity. A Spike is a Magic player that tries to win at all costs. They're the tournament players, they're the ones that net deck and try to play all the best cards. They're the ones that are trying to win at all costs. That is the most important thing for a Spike. And then there are Vorthos players who are in it for the story and lore in Magic the Gathering. Magic is an enormous game with over 30 years of story into it, so there is lots of content for Vorthos players to consume. The next term is Cheerios. Cheerios are artifacts that cost 0. It's like a Cheerio. You just pay nothing and you get it. People will often call their decks Cheerios if they have lots and lots of synergies for when you cast artifact spells. You're just playing all your 0-drops and they're called Cheerios for that reason. And here's the last term that I have for you today, and that's Scoop. You scoop up your cards when you have given up and you don't think you can win anymore. You just concede the game. It's scooping because you're scooping all of your cards up off the table. So there you have it. Did you learn anything new? And what are some other terms that you have heard that you have no idea what they mean? I'm sure that I missed out on something, so let me know. And just remember, it's not about the Magic, it's about making sure that Beansy gets that ramp so he too can play Magic the Gathering.